Hi everyone, thank you so much for tuning into my tarot channel today. I wanted to give a brief example of how to read a birth chart. So the sun is who we are overall, the ego, the goals we have in this lifetime, where our soul is striving toward. The moon is our inner self, our emotional world. It's who we are from ages 0 to 30. That also speaks to our family and our nurturing capacity, how we nurture our inner emotional world. The ascendant is your first house. So then everything is divided into houses and planets. So in the first house, we have the house of self, how you present, how you're interacting in the environment, who you are in relation to the world. And often there's a discrepancy between the inner self and the outer self. And some astrologers would argue that the ascendant is who we are, who we had to be to fit in with the family, and the sun sign is who we really are. So that might be interesting for you. So a couple of examples. Someone with an ascendant in Virgo, but a sun in Leo might be might have insecurity issues, but might want to perform and have the desire to be a performer. Someone with the sun in Sagittarius, but the ascendant in Cancer might have kind of a brash personality, but then in relating with others, they may be intuitive and able to pick up on emotional cues. So you can see how it begins to be about polarities in how we're thinking about astrology. So second house is the house of income, value, self, or how we value ourselves, like our sense of self-worth, and property, objects. So it's really about self-esteem too. So where you have the second house will show you how you can get money. So for example, for myself, I have Gemini in the second house, which is about writing, communicating, and teaching. And I have worked as a teacher in the past and as a communicator. Anyway, and as a writer. So the third house is the house of communication, house of siblings, how we're, also people that are close to us. It also speaks to like how we think, how we communicate with others. So someone with the third house in Scorpio, for example, might Scorpio in the third house, they might be very hypnotic in how they're communicating and able to read subtle undertones of a situation. Someone with Leo in the third house might communicate as the star and be someone who is expressive as an entertainer. Okay, so in the fourth house, we have family and home, and also our lineage. So like our history. So if there's a lot that can happen here. Say you have Jupiter in the fourth house, that may mean you have an expanding home that is constantly growing. Say you have Virgo in the fourth house, it may be very important to keep a tidy home for you. In the fifth house, we have the house of fun, gambling, the inner child, childhood, play, leisure activities, and it's a very creative house, so a house of creativity. So this house can also be about casual sex or playful romantic engagement. The sixth house is the house of order, health, diet, the body. It's the house of purity, and it can show you where you have health issues, and it also shows you, the way that you are relating at a job. The seventh house is the house of relationships, so it's always opposite of your first house. So for me, I have the first house in Aries and the seventh house in Libra. So I'm attracting a lot of Libra types in the people I relate with, and they're attracting me because I have the Aries qualities. So the eighth house, we have the house of death, transformation, and sex, intimate relationships, and other people's money. So, financial resources. And this house links all of these things. So, yeah, you can look here to see the nature of your death. Also, the nature of those kinds of relationships, the sexual intimacy, excuse me, and joint finances. In the ninth house, we have travel, philosophy, and expansion. So this is your beliefs, like how you perceive the world philosophically. So the 10th house, we have the medium Koli, which is in the sign of Capricorn, but the house of the 10th house is how we're seen in the world. So where good fortune comes to us, where career success comes from to us. The 11th house, or our self-actualization in the world. The 11th house is our communities, friendships, and can also represent a place of unexpectedness, like where there's maybe a sense of unusual stuff happening. The 12th house is the subconscious, our karma, our past, where we're coming from. So there's some interesting things that can happen. I'll give some examples. And it really shows the kaleidoscope, the vast array of the possibilities in astrology, and why no one is exactly the same. Everyone is unique. So say you have a son. I'll use myself as an example just because I know myself pretty well. So I have a son in Scorpio, which is about power, and the life experience I've opted into. My soul in this experience of this lifetime is wanting to experience power and powerlessness. So also it's, like a sign about trauma and about rising from the ashes, reinventing the self. So I have transformation in the place of self. So I've definitely transformed myself in my life many times. It's also a sign about sexuality and deep intimate relationships. That's tempered for me because I'm in the decan of, or the decan, I'm not sure how you say it, of Pisces. So I was born within the 10-day span that is ruled by Neptune within the Scorpio placement. So that makes me more musical, which I'm a musician, and it makes me more intuitive and psychic. It also makes me more compassionate and more able to be adaptable or mutable than other Scorpios. And also someone who's concerned with fantasy and being in my own world, which is definitely true. It also endows me with artistic talent. So I have the moon in Cancer. So this makes someone who is Scorpio a little bit more homey and caring, a little bit more oriented towards family and mothering others. I have my ascendant in Aries, which is a direct personality. It can be blunt at times, but mainly it shows that I was asked to be a warrior to deal with my life situation. Then in my 12th house, I'm just going to go reverse a little bit. I have Pisces there. So that what's unseen is in the 12th house, also hidden enemies. The 7th house is open enemies. So hidden enemies, I have definitely had some Pisces enemies. So I have the Pisces sign there. And also that shows that I have a hidden psychic gift. And a couple more things about my chart that just to illuminate. We also have aspects. I'm not going to tell you all the things. I will say for the 6th house I have Virgo there, and I do have digestive issues, which Virgo rules digestion. Anyway, for aspects, that also changes things. So I have, for example, I have the sun is aspected towards Pluto. I forget how, I think it's an opposition. So that is someone whose life, it sort of exacerbates the Scorpio plight of your life being about power dynamics. And also, control issues. We also have some of the aspects we have are separating, and some are, that means that there are things from the past that we're moving on from, and some are still happening. For another aspect, you could have aspects to your ascendant that can affect how you look, how you relate to the world. For example, I have Uranus trine my ascendant, which is a very oddball appearance, a very different look, different unique appearance. I also have Pisces trine my ascendant, which gives more musical talent and artistic and intuitive talent, and also makes me someone who can be changeable and cares about people who are less fortunate. I'm not saying I'm so great. I have plenty. We all have so many aspects that can be interpreted in so many ways. So also things we can use our chart for are to tell the future. We can use progressed charts to tell us to show us. It's like an overlay chart over our original birth chart, and the jumps between tell us where we are now and where we're going in terms of our phase of life. So for example, say that you do your progress chart and you look at your progress moon, and for me my progress moon has been in Virgo, so that is about health, diet, purity, and also hermithood in a sense, and also routine. So there have been aspects of those qualities that have been in my subconscious, which is the moon, is about that. Anyway, so yeah, I hope you get an idea. You can sort of see like you can really tell so much from astrology, not just who you are, but where you're going, and also where you've come from, like before this life. And it shows us our past lives. It shows us the issues we need to work on. So for example, you could look at your nodes. Your south node represents the karma that you're coming from. Also, like the issues you had as a youth. Your north node is where you're going, and it's, they're opposite poles. So for example, to use myself again, I have the south node in Virgo, which is about someone who has control issues with perfection, and maybe have like a history of servitude and wanting to serve and help others to a detriment. And then the future is for me, where my soul's going after age 30, when the Saturn return happens, which we all go through between ages 28 and 30. After that point, our souls are going towards our north node, which is the opposite of your south node. So my north node is in Pisces, which is the opposite of Virgo. And Pisces, again, is about um, unity and release, letting go. It represents death. So it's about, instead of the structure of Virgo, it's the antithesis where we're trying to go with the flow and trust our spirituality. So you can see it's really a game of polarities, and it really speaks to the unifying of our inner selves. And I say selves because in therapy, in analysis, in a Jungian analysis, we become aware that there are multiple aspects of the self that need to be integrated to create a person who's able to function well in the world. So yeah, if you are interested in getting a birth chart reading, you can email me at crystalmessagestarot1@gmail.com. You can also check out my Instagram at Paulina Louise Perlwitz. And I have a bunch of free readings there, and you're welcome to also direct message me there as well. So yeah, thank you so much. Have a great day.